All right, what is up, Facebook Live? So today we're going to talk about some of you guys have been a little bitch when it comes time to make your prospecting phone calls. Now, all of you know that you should be making prospecting phone calls on a daily basis. Every working day, you should be on the phone prospecting for at least 2 to 4 hours a day, but you guys aren't doing it. You guys are reluctant to pick up the phone because you're scared, you're being a bitch about it, you just don't want to do the work. You prefer to be lazy and have less deals than to have some money to spend at Christmas time. So I talked a lot about this in detail on my podcast today, which I'll put a link to my podcast, my Get Your Ass to Work podcast, down in the comments section after this Facebook Live. But what we're going to talk about are the 3 things that you guys can do to help yourselves make these prospecting phone calls. Step number 1, stop. Stop listening and stop caring what other people think about you. You guys care so much about what's going to happen on the other end of a phone call from somebody that you've never met or somebody that you've met a couple of times that'll stop you completely from making prospecting phone calls. Out of all the phone calls I've made, I'd say 2% of the people are actually the people that are pissed off about you making a call to them and that will yell at you. 2%. You're letting 2% of the people dictate your real estate future. You're letting 2% of the people that might be mad and say a cuss word and tell you to fuck off stop you from being a successful real estate agent. So let's get to point number 2, and that is fear. And the fear of making prospecting phone calls never completely goes away. It doesn't matter how many prospecting phone calls I've made. I've set hundreds of appointments. I've met hundreds of people face to face. I've taken hundreds of listings, and I still get nervous when somebody picks up the phone and says hello. It's like, oh shit, it's go time. You're ready to perform. Just like any high-level athlete still gets the jitters on game day. Just like I still get nervous when I pick up the phone and make a prospecting phone call. That shit never goes away 100%. Now, it's like a muscle. The more you do it, the easier it gets, the more efficient you get, the less sore you get. But guess what? If I stop making prospecting phone calls for a week or 2 weeks, that fear and that doubt starts to creep back in. So let's get to number 3, which is make all your prospecting phone calls in the morning. So make them in the morning when you're fresh, you're ready to go, you've got energy, because if you don't do it, most people are going to make excuses. Most people do not have the self-discipline to say, well, I'm going to do my prospecting in the afternoon, and guess what? Nothing ever goes as planned in real estate. You're not going to do your prospecting phone calls in the afternoon. You're not going to do it at all. You're making excuses. You're being a bitch. You're going to make up a reason why you're too busy to go do it, so your prospecting won't get done. You do your prospecting first thing in the morning. It should be the very first thing you do when you get into the office is sit down, put on the headset, and make that first dial, because it's the first dial that's the hardest. When I get new agents in the office who are training to make phone calls, I see people shake when it comes time to make their first phone call of the day, and within 5 minutes, they're usually settled into their groove. They're talking to people, they're having a good time, they're going through their scripts. Nothing's a big deal anymore. So look, it's really easy. Stop fearing the morning. Stop listening and stop caring what people think about you. The fear is never going to go away, so you just better fucking get over it. Very few people are just naturally inclined to make prospecting phone calls. There's very few people I've ever met that are just, these people are fucking weird. There are some people out there that love making prospecting phone calls. They're probably the 0.01% of all people that I've met that are actually into talking to people. So if you're like the rest of us, including myself, who hates making prospecting phone calls, well, guess what? The fear's never going to go away. It's only going to get easier to manage. And then do it everything in the morning. If you guys want to hear more in depth about these prospecting phone calls, where we go a little bit deeper into each topic, you can check out the podcast that I put up today, and I'll put it in the link put a link in for it at the comment section of this Facebook Live. If you guys have any questions, go ahead and hit me up. You guys can talk about prospecting. I'll share all our scripts with you. I'll share all the dialers we use. I'll share where we get our phone numbers from. If this is something you're interested in, you can go ahead and hit me up in the comments section of the Facebook page.